Ridge is a first-person adventure game where you walk around exploring a world filled with evil balls and using runes to combat them, and the many traps spread throughout the world. With a tutorial that teaches you the bare minimum, a picture of the controls instead of actual bindings, and the expectation that you'll figure out how to play the game eventually, Ridge is not a very easy game to get into. Even the instructions to the tutorial were lacking. They tell you to use an object, but not tell you that you need to go grab a different object first, and then use that object on another object before you could do what they were telling you to do. And even then, they didn't tell you how to do it. Once you get past the tutorial, you're welcomed into what I would call a very charming looking world. But the graphics of this game have a lot of effects that stop you from enjoying its own fidelity. For one, there's a random depth of field mechanic that will continuously change and adjust as you play the game and will blur out everything as close as 10 feet in front of you, or will just suddenly move to only blurring out things way in the distance. Good news is, whether it was there or wasn't, I didn't notice any large objects popping in, but the bad news is that all of the flora pops in 15 feet in front of your face, even on the highest settings. Also, if it's raining, don't expect to be able to see a damn thing. Your face apparently has a camera in it instead of eyeballs because your first-person perspective will get drowned in raindrops, making it very difficult to see anything combined with the fog effects that the game likes to use on occasion. Also, I can't see my body when I look down, so maybe you do play as a floating camera as opposed to a real person. Who knows? My favorite part of this game, though, has got to be its music. The music is amazing. During the calm moments, there's soft versions of, unfortunately, only two popular songs, Jingle Bells and Sweet Dreams. The latter sounding more like a cover of Marilyn Manson's version of it. They're played with bells, and they're just very calming. It then has a typical orchestral sounding soundtrack for the combat and other moments of action that is also very good. However, this game is no audio masterpiece. The sound effects are horrible. Oftentimes they're too loud, sound distorted, and repeat endlessly. The sound effects in the tutorial were consistently bashing against my ears and making me want to take my headphones off for the duration of the tutorial. It was horrible. And once you get into the open world, it kind of continues with a distant thunder that repeats every 10 seconds and sounds more like someone bashing a pot into a toilet than actual thunder. The gameplay is barely a thing, which is why I saved this part for later. It's basically just a walking simulator where you use 3 buttons. The goal is to investigate the game world and collect runes and charge them and use those to defend yourself. It's supposed to be an investigation on a real place, but that investigation is minimal. Most of your time is spent running away from evil balls of light that can outrun you unless you sprint, which is limited by a stamina mechanic that your character has, which is equivalent to the amount of stamina someone with asthma has, and will kill you unless you have the runes to combat them all, which you never do. Oh, and on occasion you step on a trap, but that's basically the same deal. Use a rune or die. It's really very boring and repetitive once you get past the first 10 minutes where it's all new. The checkpoints in this game are horrible. You can mess up and find yourself having lost 10 to 20 minutes of progress. Also, the controls of this game are clunky as hell. If you move forwards, your camera pivots down. If you move backwards, your camera pivots up. If you move to the side, it's like you're standing diagonally. The whole screen just tilts. And you can't really adjust for any of this. Otherwise, the moment you change direction, it gets even more messed up. The story is there, I guess. There's no real voice acting, just some words pop up on your screen. There's some explosions. You find some things, read some stuff, but there's not really any motivation here to deal with the game's flaws because they put the emphasis of the game on exploring the world instead of giving you a narration intriguing enough or even often enough to follow. Ridge is just the worst game I have played in over a year. It gets a 1 out of 10 because of that. I'd give it a 0 if it were buggy and broken too, but at least it works. So long as it works, someone might like it, so there's your pro, it works. The cons? The rest of the game. Don't buy this game unless you want to gift it to a friend as some sort of twisted April Fool's joke, but I'm pretty sure that's why we already have Bad Rats. That's enough seeking out bad games for 1 month. I'll see you guys on the next one, and hopefully it was something better than this.